So I think humanity has disappointed me day after day, and I often wonder how much can humanity disappoint me. And lo and behold, it's like a Guinness Book of World Records. Every month we can go lower.
Try to name a more iconic duo. Peanut Butter and Jelly, Buzz and Woody, Owen Wilson and the word wow. How about Duel Links players and abusing skills? So for those of you that missed yesterday's livestream, I decided to jump in and check out what was happening in the Grand Tournament, which for those of you that don't know is basically just the Budget World Championship, because for obvious reasons this year's World Championship had to be cancelled. And this event we got to see a wide variety of decks being played, from Onomats to Onomats, and I'm pretty sure we also got to see at least one person playing Onomats. The most surprising of all was this brand new deck I had never seen before. And to be honest, I'm kinda glad I hadn't, as it's one of the single most cancer decks you'll ever come across. But just before I get into the list, just a friendly reminder that if you are enjoying the content you're watching or find any of it useful, to please leave a like on the video down below and consider subscribing to the channel whilst you're down there. I'm getting pretty close to 50k now and I would appreciate every single one of them. And without further ado, here's the deck list. So I'm just going to put this out there. I do not endorse the use of this deck on ladder, as my god is it complete and utter cancer. But if you do feel like losing some friends, this deck is actually really strong. I may have tested it out on ladder right after the tournament ended, and got a scoreline of 7 wins and 1 loss, with the only loss being to Gaia, when I started with an opening hand of 3 hand traps. And I'm sure you guys can all work out how well that went. So this deck was created by a guy named Reddy, who by the looks of things has a pretty good track record. Now his results during the tournament round robin sadly were not enough to qualify for the final round, but that doesn't mean he didn't achieve a pretty impressive result, especially considering he started the robin with a score of 3-0, before running into a bunch of Harpy players and a Ritual Beast who knocked him out, finishing a score of 3-3. Also keep in mind that a score of 3-3 during the World Championship, being played against the best players with only the best decks, is actually pretty mental, especially considering the deck he was using just came completely out of nowhere. So the idea of this deck is obviously a cancer stall deck. Your aim is to just stall your opponent. But the main difference between this and the standard stall garbage that generally just sucks, even on ladder, outside of Shiranui, is the clever use of the skill Hero Flash. At first glance this skill seems pretty damn shitty, as all it does is every 2 turns you add 1 letter of the hero spell cards to hand, and on the 10th turn you get Hero Flash. So none of these cards are particularly strong, but the skill does give them to you for free, essentially meaning this skill is just a straight up plus 5 cards for free. So when you're playing a deck that consists of a bunch of discarding trap cards, all of a sudden these trap cards don't really have a cost anymore, since you can just discard these free cards. And since you're playing a stall deck, you are very easily able to stall out to the eventual Hero Flash. This card allows you to banish all spell cards from grave to special summon a hero normal monster straight from the deck. Then all hero normal monsters you control can attack directly. So if you special summon a Neos, then normal summon a Sparkman, all of a sudden you just have lethal on board. The rest of the deck is nothing really special, it's just stock standard counter stall stuff with Winda for the Ritual Beast alternative win condition. So I won't bother going through the rest of the cards. Alright guys, that's going to be it for the deck profile portion of the video. The rest of the video will just be gameplay with commentary showcasing the deck list in action. I did originally want to use gameplay from Worlds itself to showcase the deck, but for some reason Konami decided to take down the replays, so I had to settle with getting my own inside of King of Games. Remember, if you guys are enjoying the video, to please leave a like down below and consider subscribing to the channel whilst you're down there. Enjoy the gameplay! Alright, so let's get into it. So this deck list went 7-1 when I played it on ladder, which is pretty damn good. The only loss I had was against Gaia, since my deck is all hand trap, and yeah, they have a field spell that just says, fuck you hand traps. But other than that, went 7-1, popped off quite hard. Yeah, we started here by the way, these decks weren't in King of Games. Yeah, pretty good. Alrighty. So I'm only going to show you 2 replays today, as this deck is a stall deck, so the games go for quite a long time. So yeah. And it's not like every duel is particularly different anyway, so you definitely get a good understanding of how the deck works from just one game. By the way, just want to quickly remind you that I do not endorse playing this on ladder. You will definitely lose friends. This is absolute cancer. Alright, so opponent was playing Yasenju. Didn't do a whole lot going first. We're just going to set a bunch of cards, swinging with the Winda for a bit of chip damage. We activate our Fiendish Chain in response to his Karma one, because if you negate this, the other normal summoning of the Yasenjus can't happen, so we're just going to negate it. Unfortunately, he has Book of Moon, so my Fiendish Chain is effectively useless. We're also going to then Floodgate trap off his Isna, because we do not like Isna at all. If he has Isna, he keeps drawing cards, he can get tons of value, and since my whole deck is about trying to grind my opponent out, if we give him lots of value, we're just going to lose the game, so that's one of the more important cards to get rid of. Get our first use of Hero Flash. Alright, he summons Karma 2, tries to swing in directly, we use Karma Cup, discarding our very useless Heated Heart to the grave, and banishing it. And since Karma 3 can't beat over our 1600 attack, we don't have to do anything about it, we can just ignore it. It literally does nothing. Hero Flash gives us E, we're actually going to use the E this time to give ourselves Sparkman. Which does give us 2 level 4s on board, so we could do an Exceed summon here, but none of the Exceed summons actually does anything in particular that would be helpful, so I just don't care. We're going to keep chip down our opponent. It's not like we're scared of getting lethal or anything. We certainly have a good few ways to counteract that. At this point though, we're definitely going to activate our Necrovalley because we know our opponent's playing Kiteroid. I put the Winda in defense to avoid drowning Mirror Force. We get ourselves an R, which lets us destroy spell and trap cards equal number hero monsters I control. We control Sparkman, so we get to pop one of the back row. For some reason he didn't use the Typhoon on my Necrovalley, he just left it alone. Not really sure why, considering literally 2 seconds later he activates Sword Sting on the Necrovalley. So I don't really know what this is about. Maybe he was just hella tilted from playing against the most cancerous shit. Yeah, from here he just concedes, he was done. And that's an example of a stall deck outgrinding a deck that's generally known for stalling, so... This deck is really odd in that, because it generates so many cards, it has such a fat deck size. Although it is a cancer stall deck, it also kind of counters cancer stall decks. It's honestly really gross. Even with the Necrovalleys, they just help deal with things like Shiranui, which is also another stall deck. I don't know. So this is the longer of the 2 replays. This was against a Witchcrafter player. Had a very slow start, I remember. So we just summon Burstinatrix for a little bit of a chip damage. We're trying to get chip damage in whenever we can, because we know this guy's running Grit, so I want to get rid of that Grit as soon as possible. Obviously we're going to use our Floodgate Trap Hole on his Viray, because Viray is rather annoying. So when playing a stall deck, just for reference, you don't have to be proactive. Your opponent has to be proactive. They have to do stuff. You can just ignore them. If they don't want to play the game, you can just draw as many cards as you like, and you'll eventually deck them out anyway. And the more resources you have, the more hand traps you have, the safer you are. So in this case, my opponent was playing rather slow. He was refusing to, I believe he was refusing to swap this out for a Ray because he was scared of back row. But if he doesn't do it, I'm just going to keep waiting anyway. I don't care. He swings in, I summon Veil, 1800 defense, he literally can't beat over this, so he has to summon a Ray, otherwise he just cannot play the game. So there, he still, for some reason he decided to still not to do it. I don't think he even did it yet, right? Yeah, he passed the turn, he still decided not to do it, so we're like, okay, I'll just draw more cards, I don't care. Set our Winda. This is when he worked out, I think, yep, I actually have to do something or I'm going to just deck out, so... Sums out his Viray. activates Collaboration on this monster. We don't want this monster attacking then, because it stops all our back row being activated, and he can pop both our monsters. So we decide we're just going to turn that shit face down. At this point, we're literally one turn off having the full hero combo. Karma Cut, and we're discarding Kiteroid. Not sure why I discarded a Kiteroid over one of the hero cards, but I guess these ones are actually usable. So we're getting pretty close to being able to lethal now. Our only issue is our board is extremely clogged up. Once again, he's still trying to summon Vraze and keeps trying to attack, but at this point I don't even care if he attacks. Killing this thing's just going to let us summon our fusion monster from the extra deck. Not only that, but it summons a fusion monster that doesn't care about my opponent's card effects, and one that's designed to like be able to swing and not care about anything. So even if he has a Karibo or something, we can get that chip damage in to get rid of the the grit, which is very useful. This means we can kill with a Hero Flash. Use our Canadia to turn his card face down so it can't negate during his turn. Or during our turn. Or even buff up his monster. We Xyz summon Malevolent Sin, this is so that we just get more board space, honestly. Use E to add Neos, this is so we can tribute summon next turn to clear up even more board space. Apelio, like I said, can swing in with no care, doing a little bit of damage, getting rid of the grit. Using Collaboration on his main Witchcrafter now. Again, we still don't care, we're just like, yeah, we'll just put that shit face down. Here is where some classic Papega misplays happen though. So for some reason, I decide to summon this Canadia, as I just keep spamming yes. And because of this, I now have a very clogged up board, making Hero Flash basically unusable. Because I'm a big dum-dum. So I tribute summon for the Neos, and then use Oversoul to summon Burstinatrix, thinking, oh, I could just activate my Hero Flash to swing directly now. You have to have a board spot to summon an elemental hero from deck, so it can't swing directly, the card can't be activated yet. And I also decided to use the Righteous Justice with 2 monsters on board, and this card isn't an up to effect, which I didn't realise, so I had to destroy his trap card, and one of my own, because I'm actually a dumbass. Thankfully though, our opponent was kind of nice. He tried to put his monster face up again, of course. No, we're not having that. But he did swing in and kill off one of our board slots, so we can now activate Hero Flash. Activate Hero Flash, bring back a normal monster, or special summon a normal monster. Both normal monsters can now swing directly. Our opponent discarded his Karibo, which was kind of nice of him too. And because we can swing directly, he's dead as shit. Alright, so that's going to be it for the gameplays. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know it's very cancerous, but I thought it was kind of spicy since it's a deck that was played at Worlds, so I thought I'd showcase it off. Thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And hope to see you in the next one. Peace.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob?
Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis.
Oh.